Social media, dangerous. It's dangerous. Fucking Instagram, dude. I've barely been on Instagram in years, and I was getting ready to start. Where it is? I was getting ready to start doing more business stuff over there, and I am like reformulating, replanning, reorganizing, and everything. So I'm trying to heal up from the most devastating collapses and attacks of my life. We'll get into that another time. Sure will. Because we're gonna do a quick tarot. I have a couple different IG accounts, so I was trying to start separating some stuff out, and total PTSD collapse in 2024. I didn't know what it was. I was like barely knew what CPTSD was, and this one feels like it wants to come out. The Hanged Man. Pisces card usually. 6. He's got a nice little spear stuck through him too. Ouchie. That guy looks like, that's like some legit Jesus imagery right there. But also kind of Celtic with that tree. Learn how to breathe again. Learn how to breathe for the first time in my life, dude. It's like the Emperor, White Stag. Apparently this is some potent mythology. I just read this book. Is it around here? Still it is. Hold on. This has a white deer in it. It's kind of central to the thing. This is a miracle of a fucking book, dude. I just remember I gotta send this to somebody. The white stag apparently is a really powerful image in mythology. Some of these were from the other day. Page of Hearts, Page of Cups. The white stag, I guess, is common in mythologies, especially I think in Celtic. But in this deck, it's the Emperor card, which is interesting. It's a symbol of purity and wisdom and like the pure masculine presence, which that's kind of interesting. This character in that other book finds his grandfather through this crazy turn of events and the love of his life, and decides to settle down. He was like an ex-military guy. Really beautiful book. If you've never read Nicholas Sparks, I watched Message in a Bottle many years ago, but I've never read any of his books. This is my first one. I highly recommend it. I'm gonna be doing more of that. All right, we got. That is it. That's it for this reading. Wheel of Fortune. Death. I gotta mention this because this little quote on my wall right up here happens to be my favorite quote of my homeboy Jesus. Because I have it written in marker on my wall does not mean that I think that I'm Jesus Christ reincarnated. But Jesus said you and I are one on spiritual terms. So I like reminders of my homeboy up there. But no, I got narcs and fucking goblins and all kinds of fake accounts all up at my shit for months and years now. So they're gonna use anything they can to try and fucking fill some narrative out of their fucking insanity. The Hanged Man usually represents us needing to look at things in another way. It always feels much more macabre to me than it does in the way that most people read it. But this guy especially has got a big ass spear through him. He's all wrapped up in red. This red robe hanging upside down, but clearly he's not dead. He's holding on to the fucking spear, and it looks like may have put it through himself, you know. That's a gnarly looking motherfucking. Made some big old holes in there. I know. For me in my life, I've been doing some step work and looking at like, wow, where did I actually just about disembowel myself in recent years. It's been a little bit since I did like a major step work session, but the Emperor, it's time. It's time. We're called to the highest of fucking things. Masculine energy, pure soul energy. Look up the myth of the white stag. Again, there's a lot of gold in this image. That is funny because this came out recently, and I just posted a song by Chet Faker called Gold. And it's about romantic love, but it's got a white deer in there too, and it had just showed up in this card. It's in this fucking book that I just read. Got the hand holding a cross and the golden antlers, the golden footsteps down in there. The Emperor. And this has come up a lot in a bunch of my personal stuff as well recently, as well as my own charts and the stuff that I've deciphered over the last couple of years, thanks to Aisha Durrani, Oath Oracle, and motherfucking Molly McCord and Timothy Ross Leela Healing. You guys are motherfucking badasses. Love you. Let's do a conference sometime. Planning it. Page of Hearts, Page of Cups, message of love. Sending in messages of love, of truth. He's got the caduceus, and this is like Mercury, who can travel between realms. This is the one that could travel down to, he could go down into Hades, into the land of death, and back out. Mercury, and in our solar system, it's closest to the sun. So, and often associated with Gemini, Virgo, the Magician card, Liquid Earth, Rainbow Earth, all of the elements in the Magician card, card 1, beginning. Powerful creative energy, but in the Greek, I think it's the Greek tradition, he could travel between realms. He was the messenger, fleet-footed, could go between the gods and the earth and the underworld and everywhere else, and fast too. So Gemini season communication, everything else. Mercury retrograde is always like, that's one of the things that turned me off from astrology for so long. Everyone using it as an excuse. But anyways, messages. The heart and the caduceus is obviously like healing. But the suit of hearts in this deck is cups in most decks, which came from the traditional deck, which was the diamonds, hearts, spades or clubs, and then whatever else. I can't think of it offhand. The Wheel of Fortune, all elements closing out the cycle. This is card 21 in the major arcana, and it represents the completion of cycles. So you might be looking at a completion of a smaller cycle, bigger cycle, mega cycle in your life. But I don't want to just say how this relates to me, dude, but all of this shit is like so relevant to my fucking life right now and what I've been going through. The Hanged Man has been a whole fucking season of assessment and looking at things in a new way, revealing and re-revealing things, stepping into power, stepping into authority and anointing once more, messages, truth, communication, remembering that the heart is the fucking thing, the heart is the thing, the heart is the thing. It's the main brain. Don't just use this one all the time. It gets you in fucking trouble, man. Wheel of Fortune closing out cycles. And death. Should be beautiful in this deck, huh? Card number 13. Associated with, and this is usually like Saturn and Capricorn. The final earth energy. And death. Miss Pluto, Miss Scorpio. Mulsa death. There's a really cool card in the Kabbalah deck called the Skeleton. And oftentimes this has really negative connotations for us in Western culture in the United States. Initially, we don't have a good relationship with death, but usually the way that this is read in tarot is it's what's it? Wheel of Fortune. I forget number 12, death, and then Temperance comes right after this. Number 14 is Temperance. Sagittarius. But death is usually, Pluto and Scorpio are death, and then 20 is judgment. But in the tarot, it doesn't signify necessarily. It doesn't signify like an actual death, although it can mean that. But oftentimes, it's also like the end of a cycle, the beginning and the rebirth of something new. The hourglass is full. Like, yeah, I really like how these two actually play off each other in this. The world has the tree of life in it. In death, the hourglass is full, so it's time to flip it back over. It's really beautiful imagery. But she's got the world is floating over the hand. I think it's just remembering the cycles of birth and death and birth and death. And it's really crazy, dude. Again, in this book that I was just reading, one of the characters that's getting close to death, there's this image that where he's talking about death and seeing death, and he had seen death almost come for one of his daughters many, many years before the events in this book. And the way that it's described, it just seems so plausible, so realistic, so beautiful. In a way, it's like a haunting beautiful, scary beautiful, because it's like, it's the one that came to collect the soul back out of the body and go to wherever it goes. But the harvest and the scythe and the sickle, man. I love learning the imagery and the mythology of so many traditions through these decks. But this I don't know as much about this, because this is Latino or Mexicana imagery more specifically. But these are often associated with harvest. Geraniums, I want to say it's geraniums. They're bright oranges and yellows that you often see at like Dia de los Muertos, which again I don't know a whole lot about it, but learning. It's interesting that the Wheel of Fortune came out before death. I kind of want another one, but it's like, in a way, they're almost like the same card. It's just like remembering the freaking cycles. 1222. Remembering the cycles, remembering rebirth. Earth and rebirth, the beautiful Hebrew writing on this around the tree of life, and the Ouroboros eating its own tail. Maybe there's a death, maybe there's a physical death that needs to happen in order for us to go on to the next phase. This is very interesting. That has actually been coming up in a lot of other readings that I've seen lately. An actual literal death, potentially. So, anyways, I hope you guys are doing great. I love this motherfucking deck. The Storyteller's Tarot. David de Pascal. It's beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. That's the star card. That's the star card number 17. That's the Queen of Coins, the Phoenix. There's a bunch of Phoenix imagery in this deck, actually. Part of why I love it also, but this is the Queen of Coins, Queen of Pentacles in this deck. It's good stuff, yeah. It's good stuff, dude. Do what nourishes your soul, man. Do what nourishes your soul. Follow your heart. The mind is great, dude. The mind is a great tool, but your heart knows the truth. Your heart is where God put the instruction manual for your fucking life. Your soul blueprint. It's good stuff. I can't recommend astrology highly enough. If you're interested, I do astrology readings. And it's a deep dive chart. I'll give you a big 10 to 15 page book to carry with you, and I spend I'll spend 5 or 6 or 10 hours on it, depending. I've spent the last couple of years many hundreds of hours learning all this stuff. So it's not just about the hourly rate, dude. It's about everything that you get. When you're buying stuff, when you're buying stuff that's like high price tag things potentially. Don't look at it as a consumer who's buying some little item or like an hourly rate of a contract or something like that. When you hire craftspeople and artists and custom pieces and things like that, you're buying their whole decades of experience and wisdom, or whatever that might be in whatever industry you're in. With coaches especially, a lot of people balk at the price of coaching and consulting and stuff like that, but it's like These are people who have decades of wisdom, and often, like in the business realm, you're talking to somebody that's got experience dealing with like multi-million, sometimes tens, sometimes hundreds, sometimes billions of dollars worth of businesses. If you have a $450 million problem, you're not going to hire somebody for $100 an hour. You know what I'm saying? So that's when you start getting into like the higher end consulting and shit like that. But if you've never operated in these realms, there's no way to know any of that. And that's a conversation for another time and place anyways. Hope you guys are doing great. Bye.